Hello everyone, I'm Freaky and welcome to the video. My friends, if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, like a really big fan, to a point where you've read the mangas, you've watched the animes, you've watched the movies, you play the games, you listen to the music, etc, etc. Now, as somebody who is a Dragon Ball fan, I haven't read every single piece of media of Dragon Ball, I haven't played every single game of Dragon Ball. Heck, I haven't even read the manga. I've only ever played the PS1 games, the PS2 games, you know, the Budokai ones, and Rage and Blast, and Burst Limit, and of course I've got Fighters. And sadly, I never got around to actually finishing the Xeno games, and I never really got around to actually reading the mangas, even though I really should. And I'm pretty sure there's loads of people out there who loves the series of Dragon Ball Z, but I'm sure you guys haven't, read the manga or played certain games, or you might have missed a few movies, that sort of stuff. But you know what? Hey, that's okay. Only because you love Dragon Ball Z doesn't mean you have to watch and read every single last thing that revolves around Dragon Ball Z. Like, I haven't seen Super Dragon Ball Heroes, and again, I haven't read the manga, and I have missed a few games. Well, more than half of them. And to be honest, I really should buy the manga of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Super. And only because I haven't played every single Dragon Ball game, and only because I haven't seen every single piece of media of Dragon Ball, or read the manga, doesn't mean I'm not a true Dragon Ball fan. Although I really should get to buying the manga. I mean, come on, we can all agree that we haven't seen every single piece of media that the Dragon Ball franchise brings out. I mean, when it comes to like the Xeno games and Dragon Ball Online and Shin Budoden and Shin Budoden 2, I actually prefer to know what's happening with the story than actually playing the game. I mean, I had my fill of playing Dragon Ball games back in the early 2000s. So really, it's just the story that I'm all for, and not the actual gameplay itself. I mean, not to say there's anything wrong with the gameplay. I'm just not into fighting games as I used to be. It's just the story that I'm into. And that's really all I'm into, is just the stories of Dragon Ball. Like I said, I love the movies, I love the anime, I like the stories within the games, and most fans will agree that they do like the stories within all these medias of Dragon Ball. But what if I was to tell you guys, there was actually one unseen Dragon Ball series that you probably never heard of before, and it's been there in plain sight for years without you knowing. Now, some of you are probably thinking, Freaky, what the hell are you trying to say, man? Where is this unseen series of Dragon Ball? Well, technically it's Dragon Ball Z, and this unseen Dragon Ball series takes place between the original Dragon Ball Z movies, from Dead Zone all the way to Wrath of the Dragon. Now, when it comes to the original Dragon Ball Z movies, Dead Zone, World's Strongest, Tree of Might, Lord Slug, Cooler's Revenge, etc, the plan to eradicate the Saiyans, Bardock, the father of Goku, and so on and so on and so on. When it comes to these movies take place in an alternate dimension, where these movies take place within the unseen series of Dragon Ball. Now, these movies can never ever be placed within the anime or manga of Dragon Ball Z that we know, because there's loads of things in these movies that don't make any sense in terms of fitting into the series, because they simply can't fit into the series, because there's loads of things that stops them from doing that. Now, it'll take me a long time to explain as to why the Dragon Ball Z movies can't take place within the series, but there is this YouTuber called Dragon Ball University, and in his videos he talks about why the Dragon Ball Z movies can't happen. So I want you guys to go and check that out, and once you've done that, you'll understand why these movies can't take place within the original series of Dragon Ball that we know, but instead they take place within an unseen timeline series that we don't see. But I'll give you guys a few examples as to why these movies don't fit in. For example, the Dead Zone movie. In this series, Goku says that he has 3 of the Dragon Balls, but when it comes to the movie, the only one he has is the 4-star Dragon Ball, or in World's Strongest, where they face off against Dr. Wheelo. This movie takes place after the Saiyan invasion and before they went to Namek. But the thing is, Gohan remembers Piccolo's death, but he's still alive. I mean, come on, how the heck does that make any sense? Or there's the Tree of Might, where this movie takes place before they journey to Namek. But the thing is, Tien, Yamcha and Chaozu is alive, and Piccolo. And also there's the plan to eradicate the Saiyans, where basically almost half the Dragon Ball movies can be referenced in this movie, in both the remake and the old one. And yeah, I know there's these specials with Bardock and Trunks, but you know what? They can fit into the Dragon Ball series if we didn't add Super. Like, if it was Dragon Ball GT, and the Dragon Ball Z movies, then yeah, that'd be fine. Anyways, the point what I'm trying to say is, I think somebody should make a fan-made Dragon Ball manga on where the Dragon Ball movies fit in, where it would all make sense. Again, obviously the Dragon Ball Z movies wouldn't take place within the Dragon Ball Z series that we know, but they do take place within a timeline that these movies would make sense. And that's exactly what we need to do. We fans need to figure out how this new timeline would go alongside the movies. And obviously, we would have the Saiyans, Frieza, the androids, and Majin Buu, but the story with them would have to be changed dramatically compared to the Dragon Ball Z timeline that we know. And you know what? They could make a few things within that timeline and explain a few things, like they could explain what Goku's full Super Saiyan form is, like maybe it's a halfway Super Saiyan, you know, stuff like that. And you know what, all that sounds interesting. I mean, think about it. I mean, imagine making a Dragon Ball manga or story where it would have to make sense when it gets to the movies, because remember, that new series would have to revolve around the Dragon Ball Z movies. Like, here's another example. In The World's Strongest, Gohan remembered that Piccolo stood in the way of Nappa's blast, but the thing is, Piccolo is still alive, so maybe there could be a story where Piccolo actually survived the fight with the Saiyans. But the thing is, they would need to figure out a way to get the characters to Namek, because the whole idea for them to go to Namek was so they could use their Dragon Balls to wish everybody back, including Piccolo. But Piccolo in the movie didn't die, so they'll need to figure out a way to get the characters to Namek. Like, maybe they went to Namek to try and stop Vegeta or something, because they know if Vegeta gets immortality, then they know they would be screwed. You know, it could be something like that. And you know what, I would definitely read that. And yeah, there would be one or two problems, but hey, I'm sure the creators of this unseen timeline would figure something out. I mean, there would be things that they wouldn't be able to write around. Like, remember when Chaozu died once and he was wished back by Shenron? Well, the thing is, when it comes to the Tree of Might, it is said that the Tree of Might takes place somewhere around the Saiyan Saga to the Namek Saga, but the thing is, Chaozu is alive in the Tree of Might, and the characters haven't even been to Namek yet. And again, Chaozu has already died, so how the heck would they get around that? You know, that sort of stuff. But you know what? That's what makes it interesting. Like, you can do almost anything in the new timeline as long as it lines up with the movies. I mean, this is something that Dragon Ball YouTubers need to talk about. For me, this is a very, very interesting subject that I would gladly listen to them talk about. I mean, come on, it does sound interesting. And also remember, GT also follows the Dragon Ball Z movies. I mean, come on, we see Cooler in the Super 17 saga, so it would be Dragon Ball, the Dragon Ball Z movies with that unseen timeline, and then it would be Dragon Ball GT. So yeah, we need somebody to make a story that will revolve around the movies, but it would follow the series of Dragon Ball Z that we know, but it would need to be drastically retold in order for the movies to make sense. So yeah, there you go. This is something to think about. I mean, what do you guys think happened in that unseen timeline of Dragon Ball Z? Because it is crystal clear within these movies that we are told about the main series within these movies, like Frieza, Majin Buu, Cell, that sort of stuff. And you know what, I'll say it again, it does sound interesting. So what do you guys think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Would you like to see a story that revolves around the movies? Please let me know in the comment section below, and let's get a discussion going. I'm Freaky, peace out. And please don't forget to check out my other social medias. Please go and check out my alternative video platforms, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Twitch, and please come and hang out on my Discord server. We can play games, have a movie night or a series night, or you can watch me play a few games. And if you guys have any suggestions of any videos you want me to react to, or any video ideas in general, you can tell me on my Discord. I'm also on Twitter, Gab, Getter, and Parler. I'm on Locals, Tumblr, Minds, and if you guys want to support me, please go and check out my Subscribe Star. It's like Patreon, but better. All these things are in the description box below, so please go and check them out and subscribe to them. I'm Geek Freak. Peace out.